welcome back to Mariah by the Books. Thank you so much for tuning in today. So today I just wanted to chat with you guys about what I've been up to, what I've been reading. I have been kind of taking a break from filming and doing my usual stuff in order to make an effort to get really educated on some issues that have been going on in the US over the past few weeks. So I'm sure all of you have probably seen what happened with regards to police brutality here, and there have been multiple cases involving several different people, from George Floyd to Breonna Taylor and others, many others, over the past however many years that this has been going on. So this is not a new phenomenon, but for me personally, I think seeing what happened to George Floyd was a little bit of a wake-up call, because for me, seeing that video and thinking, that's awful, this is so shocking, like how could anyone do something like that, there's no way that's justified. And to me, I've thought that so many times about these various cases, and so there's a certain point where these things keep happening where you just can't keep being shocked. And when the Black community here in the US has been telling us about these incidents, and they knew that this was going on, and they've been telling us about this, for us to only be able to experience this as white people when there's actually a cell phone video, I mean, however many more times would this have gone on when there wasn't a video, when there wasn't body cam footage, stuff like that. And so they've been telling us about this, and for me personally to continue to be shocked and horrified by something that I know on some level has been going on forever feels so disingenuous. So what I've been doing is taking the time to read and learn and follow different things on social media, and a big part of what has helped me so far was something called the Blackout Buddy Read, organized by some Black YouTubers. I'll link their channels below. One of them is named Shay, but they organized this buddy read in order to give people an opportunity to read a couple of books and kind of get educated on some of the issues of racism in America. And the two books are called White Fragility and Why It's So Hard to Talk to White People About Race, and White Rage. And I'll link the information about the buddy read and those two books below. And I've gotten through White Fragility so far, and I'm working on another book right now called Racism Without Racists, and I'm also working on White Rage. So I'm working through kind of a number of things right now. I finished White Fragility, and I just really wanted to take the time to make this video. The buddy read has ended, but of course those books are still fantastic resources that I would definitely encourage you to pick up. And so as I've been reading these, I've been learning so much, and I've been getting so frustrated with some of the things that I did not know about US history, that I was never taught, that were kind of just glossed over in US history. And so I think regardless of where you are in an anti-racist journey, or in wanting to learn about this, if you haven't learned about it at all or don't think you care to, I think it's really important to acknowledge that there's probably a lot that we don't know about our US history. There's a lot of perspectives that we were not taught in school, and it's important, if we want to be educated, informed citizens of this country, that we have to be willing to take the information and find the information so that we can better understand the perspectives and the anger and the hurt of the Black community and other communities of color in this country, and the experiences that they have. With that being said, I obviously am white, and I don't want to speak on any of these issues as an expert, because I'm certainly not. I just want to point out, particularly if you are a white person like myself, if you don't know a lot about these issues, that these are 3 really good books that you can easily pick up. I got them through my local library, or you can purchase them to support the authors. That would be an excellent idea as well. They're available electronically. And I think that in this day and age with the internet, there's really no excuse to not know anymore. I think we've gotten to the point where this information is there. People have been telling us what's been going on for so long, and the idea that we can still just, oh, this is shocking, it's horrible. Again, it feels disingenuous because this has happened so many times, and you can only be shocked by something happening over and over and over again so many times before you either know the information or you're choosing not to know the information. And so for me, I want to acknowledge that I never took the time to learn more. And I didn't fully understand the extent to which these issues were a problem. And I am making an effort now to rectify the gaps in my education, to understand better why things are the way they are today in this country. And as I've been reading these books, I've just been finding for myself that I'm so frustrated about the things that I didn't learn, about the people that I didn't learn about the experiences that I never learned in school that are so important in shaping our society today, and I just had no idea. And I got what could be argued a very good education, but I didn't know this basic U.S. history that wasn't even that long ago. This is the past 50 to 100 years, and I was missing so much of this information on how the Reconstruction was structured, on, you know, how the Jim Crow laws came to be, what came after those were deemed illegal, and how our society is shaped. I did not know this information. And like I said, because now this information is so easily accessible via the internet, there are so many scholars doing research on these things that you can find really reputable data. There's not really much of an excuse anymore for not knowing and not having this information and not being willing to learn. So with that being said, I just want to touch briefly on the books that I've read. So White Fragility is written by a scholar in white studies. I don't remember her name, but it will be, of course, linked down below. And she studies whiteness in regards to race in America, and she works as a facilitator and an educator, and she teaches people about these race relations. And specifically, her focus is on white people, as she is white. And I learned so much from her book about just how to be a better person, how to better navigate these spaces and these relationships with people of color in my life, as well as a lot of history and information that was really important, I find, that I wish I had been taught in school. Alright, so yeah, that's the first book, White Fragility. The second book that I want to talk about is called White Rage, and it is from the perspective of a black scholar looking at the historical trajectories and what's been going on historically. And I'm only partway through that one. I'm still working on it, but so far it's been really fascinating. It's a really, really easy read, but a lot of really good information as well. And the final one that I want to just briefly touch on is called Racism Without Racists. And I feel like this book surprised me a lot with regard to how it has turned out to be written. So it's written by a Puerto Rican man who has very dark skin. But he, with the title and the way that it was presented, I thought that it was going to be a little bit more of a more personal kind of a book about people and things like that. But thus far, it's a lot of statistical information. It's a lot of information about the government and things like that have over the past decades shaped where things are today. And it's a little bit outdated as it was written and refers to, you know, the Obama administration, but with that being said, the information is still really important and really relevant. I am listening to that one as an audiobook, and it is quite dry, but the information is fascinating and at times heartbreaking as well. So between the three of these books, I really feel like I'm starting to get a better picture of why things are shaking out the way they are now, and why there's still so much more to be done. So I would really encourage you to check out these books. Again, they're called White Fragility, White Rage, and Racism Without Racists. And just, even if you think that you don't need to know this information, even if you think that, you know, you were around in the civil rights movement, so you know all of this, I would just encourage you to give them a read. It won't, if you already knew what you need to know, it won't do anything except deepen your knowledge. And if you don't know, you might be surprised at what you don't know. I certainly was. So with that being said, I just would really, like I said, encourage you guys to pick up some books, get educated on these issues, because it's really hard to say, oh, well, I didn't know, when this information is so easily available. And for myself, I really want to commit to just continuing to learn. You know, I don't think I was ever a super history buff, but knowing the history of the past 50 or 60 years of my own country with regards to how it's shaping things today, learning and better understanding the perspectives of other people in my nation, in my communities, is so important, just even to be a functional adult in my society. So I really want to continue to learn, to continue to meet more people, to expand my horizons, to expand my knowledge base, so that I can hopefully begin to understand and do better and be a better person. And that's really all I can do. I mean, certainly donations are helpful, you know, being a part, voting is helpful, but knowing as much as you can about the people around you, about other people whose perspectives you might not understand, is so important, and it doesn't really take that much. So I really want to encourage you to take the time, do some reading, learn something new, learn about someone new that you didn't know anything about before, and just give yourself that gift of not continuing to be ignorant of the things that you don't know. And when I say ignorant, I just mean that you don't know. And it's really difficult because a lot of the time you really don't know what you don't know. And the only way you can find out what you don't know is to start to broaden your horizons and be curious and want to learn about these issues, about other people, about other communities, and you know, you might find out something really valuable along the way. So with that being said, I really appreciate you watching. Stay tuned for another Fairy Loot unboxing as I get back to kind of my regular content. And if you could, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Comment down below if you have any thoughts, any other resources, books particularly, that would be helpful to someone like me who's trying to explore. And the link to the buddy read and these books and all of that will be down below. Thanks again for watching. I appreciate it. Bye, guys.